we're trying to change a habit and a very sensitive hygiene routine for people. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take multiple touch points, multiple hits to get people to eventually convert. Revert back to 2014 when we did Dude Wipes' huge logo on the butt of Tyron Woodley's shorts in the UFC pay-per-view against Rory McDonald. Trended worldwide, number 3 on Twitter that night. Only spent $10,000. And it yielded millions and millions of impressions and really put us on the stage. After that play, everybody's like, what's your ROI on that? You know, how many sales did you get? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I think it's some of just the virality that we did. You know, we pressed the right buttons at the right time. And, you know, frankly, when we pressed the buttons, we had no idea how they were going to work out. But the results gave us overwhelming confidence that we definitely had something. So I've had conversations within the last year with multi-$100-million companies who want to pick our brains. They can't even fathom spending a dime on brand. I hate to say the word beyond my wildest dreams because I feel like we always dream pretty big, but we're
You're living it. You're living it.
Walking that line. Yeah, absolutely.
Before we get started, got to give a big shout out to our sponsor, OpenFortune. OpenFortune flipped the fortune cookie on its head by giving marketers the ultimate Trojan horse, reaching consumers in their hearts and minds and burning their brand into their brain. OpenFortune has worked with over 47,000 restaurants, reaching 99% of zip codes and working with brands like ZipRecruiter, Zelle, Chime, Duolingo, and many more. Shout out to OpenFortune for making this happen and excited to talk about their partnership with Dude Wipes. Today, we've got Ryan Meegan, the guy who co-founded Dude Products with his 3 buddies in a tiny Chicago apartment back in 2011. What started out as 4 dudes with a crazy idea has turned into one of the biggest brands in men's hygiene, Dude Wipes. And we're not talking small time here. Dude Wipes is now the number 2 selling flushable wipe in the country, pun intended. Stocked in over 20,000 stores across the USA. Ryan's the guy who took Dude Wipes from hustling in the performance marketing trenches to partnering with the NFL, MLS, NASCAR, and leagues like the WWE and BFL. This year, he even led the launch of Dude Wipes' first nationwide mass media campaign, Best Clean, Pants Down. Not bad for something that started in a cramped apartment. Ryan now lives in the suburban Chicago with his wife, Kara, and their 3 kids. But let's get real. How do you go from wiping your way to glory with your friends to leading a brand that's everywhere? Welcome to the show, Ryan. How you doing, man?
Good, David. Thanks for having me. Really stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. So you got to tell me. I mean, talk to me a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, like, what you wanted to be when you grew up, like, start at the beginning.
Yeah, so when I was younger, was really into sports. I still really am into sports. Was decently athletic, so, the whole way growing up.
Humble flex. That was a humble flex.
I said decently, a little decently. I could have flexed a little bit more.
Yeah.
But no, so really enjoyed playing sports, and that was kind of, everything that I was just obsessed with was sports. So, just like any kid dreaming, going to be a professional athlete one day, that was my goal, and then, reality hit about high school that's probably not going to happen. But, along the way, I was always, super kind of interested in, successful people and in business as well. My dad was president of a company and founded a company. And a couple of my friends locally, there was a couple of local wealthy families that we had connection to as well, and one that I was extremely close with. So got to see under the hood a little bit of kind of their growth, and their family went through kind of the American dream, and it just fascinated me. So on one side of my brain was sports, and then the other side was kind of paying attention to successful people and business and how that could really take place, and looking at why people were attracted to certain things or certain brands. Or
but was there a question that I like asking people is, was there a brand that really resonated with you early on?
Yeah, I mean, I was super into basketball, so it was really in growing up in Chicago, it was just Michael Jordan and the Bulls obsessed. So definitely the rise of the Jordan brand.
Yeah.
I know that's probably cliche, but it continued to skyrocket in growth. So that was one of them, certainly. But really just athletes as well. I was just always kind of intrigued by their stories and their work ethic and maybe some of the things that drove them. Really was always kind of a deep thinker about, what my own path was and, how I could be successful. So I kind of would like eat, sleep, drink, being successful. And ultimately that came towards knowing that
what did that look like? What did eat, sleeping, and dreaming successful mean?
Just, being a kid growing up, when you're in your teens and, even early 20s, just always thinking about it, always, when daydreaming when you're in a car or looking out the window, like when you have some downtime and whatnot, or, just keeping up with trends and things on the internet and stuff like that. And being able to be a part of, like I said, one of, my closest friends' families, growing their companies, being able to go to different like crazy events, that they were entertaining customers and seeing what they did, just kind of like gave me enough taste of it to keep me motivated, but knowing in my head that it wasn't like mine.
Yeah.
How could I do this for myself?
Absolutely.
So always being around that my entire life, really shaped, the thirst to make it happen for myself.
So you just talked a little bit about the how and the what that allowed you to, stay motivated, stay in it, stay wanting it for yourself. What did success mean to you though? Like what was the end result or the journey that you wanted to have for yourself? Like what did it mean at that time?
Yeah, at that time, it literally was just like being a business owner. Never really defined in my head what that meant. Certainly saw different levels of what that could be. But, my dad had his own business, small business. And just seeing that he was like the president of the company was just like the coolest thing to me. Like, so that would have defined success for me and my, 18-year-old self, 20-year-old self, whatever, of just being a business owner.
I asked because I had the same mentality as a kid. Like, and led me there. So I love that you said that. That's what I figured, but I wanted to know.
For sure. Which is funny now, like being on the other side of it is like, just the way you look at other people who have these titles or so-called status, like, even a business owner, it can be going really badly and really stressful. And, you're not thinking about profit margins or anything like that, or growing it, or, making sure your employees are happy and everything that comes with it, is, you got to be cut from a certain cloth to actually, try to do it. And then once you're doing it, realize that like, all right, the grass may or may not be greener on the other side, depending on how you're viewing this. So really what you want to do, but it always was. And, just, having a blast doing it. And, where we're at now is, is amazing. And, I hate to say the word beyond my wildest dreams, because I feel like we always dream pretty big, but we're
living it. You're living
walking that line. Yeah, absolutely.
There was that quote, like, you work 80 so you don't have to work 40 on the business owner side. But when you're in college, are you still dreaming sports business, or your own business within sports? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was kind of business, sports business, kind of probably a hybrid of that. My college, I went to a small college, Benedictine University in Naperville, Illinois. Really small, more of like a commuter school, but I did play basketball there. Another flex, no big deal. And yeah, D3 set the bench in D3 basketball. Usually,
that's cool.
That's cool there, yeah. So no, at that point I was obviously very realistic that I was going to have just a normal business career like anybody else, and sports would not be a part of it. But they did start offering some like sports marketing classes, which was very cool to me, and was like, this is great, like never really was one to be huge into school or reading and stuff like that, but like sports and business just kind of like are my jams. So that was like super cool to me, and opened up my mind to like the bigger possibilities that and even today now, like I just took a couple classes. You can get a full blown degree in that.
Oh man, amazing. I studied sports marketing.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it was the dream, because as a high school kid, you're just like, I want to study sports, not accounting. Like, what?
Sure. Now you can get it. Now you can get a degree in gaming and
gaming, all that stuff. Wow.
Amazing.
I was going through your LinkedIn. You probably have the most unique and also probably one of my favorite LinkedIn profiles because it just goes sales rep at Black Tie Products. And it also means that I don't need to prep a crazy amount with like 20 different jobs. But you went from sales rep Black Tie Products and you were there for almost 9 years. And then it just goes straight to Dude Wipes or Dude Products co-founder. I see like a 4-year overlap too. So were you building Dude Wipes while at your job, and what did that look like?
I was. So that company was my dad's. And so I was a sales rep under there. We manufactured mobile restroom and shower trailers. Had a rental company for a time that, is ended up being sold and then went strictly to the manufacturing side. So that's what I was doing. And then Dude Wipes came about in about end of 2011, early 2012. So when we started formulating things, we took our first, if you hear my daughter in the background, she just got home. Sorry about that.
I got 3, man. The freight train. You can't stop.
For sure. So we took our first delivery of our first order of Dude Wipes in August of 2012. So 2012 to 2016, I was doing double duty, working for my dad, and then any downtime I had, excuse me, lunch breaks, evenings, would be all Dude Wipes. So I'd get home like 5 o'clock, work out, eat dinner, and then I work on Dude Wipes until midnight, 1 in the morning.
And what's interesting about Dude Wipes, there's plenty of things, and I'm excited to get into it. But one, just like from the surface level, not even talking about the product, it's very rare that somebody's first business is just hits, right? What do you think it was, or the special sauce, X factor, whatever you want to call it, that made this thing fly, especially given that this was your first company?
Well, one caveat to that, we know that it wasn't it just hit. Like, we know that.
Of course, but over time.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no such thing as overnight success, right? But
AKA a decade. For anyone out there, overnight success is a decade.
I know.
It's like failed business, right? But was there an X factor, or was it the people?
I think we're really lucky. In that stat, I would venture to say that there's a overwhelming majority. I would say probably, I have no idea, but I'm guessing 75% or higher. I would guess people starting a business, maybe 1 to 2 people, right? And they probably don't have the full set of skill sets. There's probably an alarming gap or blind spot of something that they're not good at or don't know how to execute on, and that's what takes them down eventually. With us, we had 3 or 4 of us that all had different skill sets. So we had guys that could cover the finance and accounting. We had, Sean and I on the sales and marketing side. It was just a great mixture of skill sets that I think allowed us to, not have any huge alarming gaps. We know everything? No, we had no retail experience, nothing like that. But we had enough to, be responsible enough with, our dollars, which I think that can be obviously a huge downfall to an entrepreneur that doesn't have a great finance background and just is spending money in bad places, making bad investments along the way, and ultimately goes bankrupt with it. So if it were just Sean and I, we joke about it all the time, like cut that and cut our chances of where we're at now by at least 50%. We don't have accounting and finance background, so we probably would have made some bad marketing decisions and investments along the way.
Yeah, there's that quote, right, that picking your co-founder is similar to even picking a spouse, right? Like, and it's like the average relationship, I think, marriage lasts 8 years, and similar with co-founders, right? But I'm curious, like, talk to me a little bit about the dudes behind Dude Wipes.
Yeah, so myself, we've talked about my background. Always had kind of a thirst for sales and marketing, even more so marketing, hence CMO now. And as we've grown, we've all been able to like go into our own like lanes, which has been awesome, in building out our own teams and whatnot Sean Riley, CEO, co-founder, really good in sales, product development, and marketing. Jeff Klimkowski worked at Deutsche Bank for 15 years on the M&A side. So really
How'd
good.
you guys find each other?
We're lifelong friends. So we grew up together on the south side of Chicago. So there is like when you say picking your wife or co-founder, you're right. Like we that's where else we got lucky is that we're three friends that were going to start this no matter what. Just so happened that we had these diverse skill sets, which gave us a leg up.
Was the back of the napkin idea the same that it is today?
It is. Yep.
Very, very cool. That it's so wild. And so what was the experience of getting that first sale, right? And getting into retail? Was it more D2C at the time? Because I don't even know, D2C in 2012 was very rare. But what was that process like?
Yeah, so we had a very rudimentary website. Sometimes when we come across the old imagery and stuff like that, it's very funny to look back at. I think we had a huge ape or gorilla on there with like holding toilet paper and like being like, get out of the Stone Age, it's time to use flushable wipes, it's a better clean. So very funny stuff, but we never were really huge on D2C. We always chased retail. And luckily we stuck with that even around 2014, 15, 16, when the Dollar Shave Club unicorn came about and just everybody tried to chase D2C and subscriptions boxes. We never went that route. And we couldn't because we wouldn't be profitable. With how heavy our packs are and kind of awkward our packs are to ship. Even now to this day, like our website is not profitable and we don't market it. We market our retail partners on there. So we invested our time in setting up Amazon, and that was huge for us because where we're at now and what has developed and transpired being in that ecosystem over the past 10, 11 years is that, we have grown with the algorithm and invested a lot of time and dollars into that, which obviously has turned out to be huge with the behemoth that Amazon has become. So our blueprint has always been new SKU, test it out with a small MOQ on Amazon, and then chase brick and mortar retail with it. Proof of concept on Amazon and chase brick and mortar retail in the meantime. And with how scared over the years brick and mortar is or became and still is with Amazon, who wants to compete with Amazon, any proof of concept on Amazon was like, okay, if it works on Amazon, that won them over to give us shelf space in their stores.
Sure.
Smart, man.
Very smart. And so one thing that I love about Dude Wipes is it's so authentic, even just meeting you, right? You're kind of not, giving a counterculture middle finger per se to like the traditional, right, boring versions. What did you do? Like, what character did you create within Dude Wipes that is still present today, right? Andy Pearson, VP of Liquid Death, is always saying, hey, what would Liquid Death do? And I want to ask you, like, what would Dude Wipes do and who is Dude Wipes?
Yeah, I'd say it's the foundation of it is kind of the authentic nature of and kind of down to earth. There's a couple sides to it. Down to earth personalities of Sean, Jeff, and I in our just like friendship. And Dude Wipes is kind of like that friend in the room, that everybody is emotionally engaged with, and the way we talk to people in an authentic manner, with the use of bathroom humor. We look at ourselves as an irreverent David versus Goliath, and we've always kind of had that chip on our shoulders, but you won't necessarily see that chip. It's kind of behind closed doors and conversations amongst ourselves, but we have a huge motivation to, be successful. Like you said, flip the middle finger to the big guy, and that's big toilet paper, who we go against every single day. And kind of just like a why not us attitude. So that's kind of like what drives us from like the business side. But then from like the consumer side, like this is who we are. We always have a fun time. Our group of friends growing up, we just were always laughing and joking and trying to think of the most outrageous stuff to make each other laugh and have a good time. And that part of our personalities is kind of embedded into the brand, and that's what you're seeing us do. It's just kind of on like a professional level.
Sure. No, you guys definitely live that. And when you're talking about marketing a product, if you don't do the marketing correct, nobody hears about it, right? So what were some of your early, middle marketing plays that really hit and that you're super proud of?
Yeah, I think it's some of just the virality that we did. We pressed the right buttons at the right time. And, frankly, when we pressed the buttons, we had no idea how they were going to work out. But the results gave us overwhelming confidence that we definitely had something. So revert back to 2014 when we did Dude Wife's huge logo on the butt of Tyron Woodley's shorts in a UFC pay-per-view against Rory McDonald. Trended worldwide, number 3 on Twitter that night. Only spent $10,000 and it yielded, millions and millions of impressions and really put us on the stage. So that was a huge hit. At the time we just kind of, pulled that money together and said, let's go for it. And I think it taught us something else too. After that play, everybody's, what's your ROI on that? How many sales did you get? Blah, blah, blah. And, Amazon didn't go nuts or anything. And I think that could have deterred some people. But we were just like, listen, we're trying to change a habit in a very sensitive, hygiene routine for people. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take multiple touch points, multiple hits to get people to eventually convert. So sure. we were more sold by the response to the brand and the power of the brand than what the sales were. And we still take that to this day. I've had conversations within the last year with multi-$100 million companies who want to pick our brains, and they can't even fathom spending a dime on brand. They will not get off of CPM, cost per click, all that stuff. They know, because they know exactly what they're going to get out of performance, and they're scared to death on the brand side. Whereas we thrive off the brand side. And yes, we're very smart on the performance side, but we don't put everything into that bucket because holistically they're working together. And we know eventually that the brand side is going to come around and the flywheel to people converting on the performance side or even better.
You nailed it, man. You nailed it. Like that's why I feel like every marketer out there, not every, 90% of marketers out there don't understand that if you do not invest in brand, you will not get paid back in all the performance work that you're doing. Yeah. And you're going to get lost in the sea of the sameness and the sea of the same crap. And all of a sudden you're irrelevant. All of a sudden what was performing isn't. And you're spending more just to catch up because you have no brand, you have no loyalty, you have no one that cares. Love that you think that way, man.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I think that it comes down to and I'm curious what you think about this, but I think brand versus performance kind of comes down to a fear-based mindset where marketers are, on a shorter leash, right? CMOs have a short tenure, notoriously, right? And they're like, well, if I can't prove this out, in the next 6 months, my ass might be on the line. I got to feed my kids. I got to feed my family, right? I got to put myself first. So I know dollar in, dollar out, if I could get 10 cents on the dollar, great. So I'm curious how you go about those conversations internally and how marketing decisions get made, specifically when there's not necessarily hey, dollar in, $1.10 out.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the reason why we started the company in the first place, right? That's corporate America working for the man, and you're going to be held accountable. And certainly we hold ourselves accountable, but we have the freedom to make those decisions on the fly. And you know what? We're not scared to fail. If something flops, then we say, okay, and we learn from it, and we don't, try that again from a brand perspective. But, all while in parallel, we still have the performance side going, within trade, supporting our big retail partners. And then also, on from an Amazon standpoint, crushing as well, with all our, investment into there to continue to grow that platform. So, I think it really just comes down to freedom, we started the company and we're going to make those decisions and live and die by them. Whereas someone who's working, as a corporate CMO, has a board to report to and, and a boss and all that stuff. And that's probably what they're, at the end of the day, have to make a decision. They can go renegade, but if it doesn't work, then they're probably out. And at the same time, if, stuff we were doing wasn't working, we certainly would stop doing it and or wouldn't have a company anymore. We would have flopped, right? So obviously, we've had some success over the years, which gives us that confidence to keep, going back to that playbook.
What's the decision-making process when you're thinking about like, all right, we have something like a cool idea, I don't know, maybe like fortune cookies, and you have this really cool concept. How do you evaluate like, hey, this is something that we think is going to work? Like, what's the why behind it? What's the process?
Yeah, I think, we have developed a notoriety for, showing up in unexpected places. But when we do show up, we do it in the right way, and who we are and what we are and what we do. So, with the partnership with you guys, it was a no-brainer, pop up in fortune cookies, like dude wipes and food, like symbiotic there. So we're always striving for that, right? So to be in that situation, because we can make it back to
Chinese food too.
Yeah, exactly. And
I remember when you guys did the thing. It was like, tell us the last place you ate, and it's a guy took a picture of himself on the toilet, and he goes, "A new Chinese restaurant near my house." Perfect. Got you.
For sure, man. It's a lot of fun. We love having fun doing stuff like that. So I think the decision-making process is, can we get our message across, in the way we want it to? Because some places won't let us talk how we want to. So can we be who we are from a brand standpoint and messaging standpoint and get across what we want to the consumer? Are we hitting the consumer that we want, that we feel is in a comfortable demographic for us? And then is there going to be a buzz factor to it? Like that unexpected place. Do we feel like people are going to talk about it? Because that drives up the value of it. And back to the fortune cookies example with you guys. I mean, hundreds, thousands of people were going directly to Twitter. I mean, how many times or there's social media in general? How many times do people go to social media after eating a meal with a fortune cookie? Probably not many. So I think all those factors play into it, especially on the brand side. Like how can we make a splash? Is it the right demographic? And are we going to get a huge bang for our buck here? So it's generally what it comes down to.
Talk to me a little bit about your personal life and just like something you're proud of there. We spoke a lot about your career, but that's only less than half the man that you are.
Yeah, no, beautiful wife, Kara. Been married a few years. And our kids, Liam just turned 10 the other day. Declan is 8, and Finley, our little girl, is 2. So she's currently running the house right now. Quite interesting. She is the boss for sure. So no, just really proud of family life in general, and it's a great. Before that it was just eat. I'm using the eat, sleep, breathe again. I don't know why I keep coming back to that, but just 24/7 dude wipes, and it still kind of is, but they're a good break from the madness, to just take my mind off things, have a lot of fun, and just be a normal everyday guy.
Dude, zone defense is tough, man. It's tough. It's so joke. I have 11, 9, and 5, so I feel you.
Sure, man.
The blast, there's nothing better.
Yeah, absolutely. They drive you nuts, but it's at the end of the day, it's amazing.
Did they follow Pops' footsteps in sports? Your 2 older ones, at least.
Yeah, they're trying to find their way right now. They're bouncing around a couple different sports between lacrosse, baseball, soccer. The oldest one just started tackle football for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
But I roped into coaching, and I know.
I always stay strong on that.
Yeah, I messed up. I talked to Taylor about it, man, but I love it because as long as I'm not the head coach,
yeah, that's cool.
Involved, yeah, it's fun. But I'll never be a head coach. I refuse.
For sure. As long as the buck don't stop with you, it's all good, man.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Sweet, man. Well, let's hit the quick question round.
Cool.
So, if you want your brand's message to stand out in a way that people actually remember, head to openfortune.com and find out how they're making advertising sweet again, one fortune cookie at a time. You got to tell me, Ryan, we got like 10 questions for you. Person you'd most want to sit down to dinner with, dead or alive?
Tom Brady.
Favorite city in the world?
London.
I'm actually going tomorrow to London. Check it out.
Enjoy. It's amazing.
Yeah. Is it okay to sleep with socks on?
No,
Got it.
Yes.
absolutely not.
Yes. Well,
I disagree.
You just made me $50 richer. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting blown out in that category. Best spot to eat in Chicago?
Paisano's deep dish pizza, Indiana Street, downtown.
Favorite rom-com?
What is the one with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston?
Oh, the breakup.
Yep.
Favorite Benedictine? How do you say it again? Benedictine alumni.
Matt Evans, my cousin.
In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for?
Dude wipes.
Wait, what are they doing? What are they doing instead?
I mean,
Hopefully not David's father's finger.
Everybody's got asking me back.
people walking around with beeholes as clean as David's dad. Like, everyone's using it. This is like flip phone to the iPhone stuff.
Yeah.
This is cable TV to Netflix. This is the type of
it's
behavior change it
big
is.
thing. This is gonna age super well. Yeah, age super well. What's when we're old and like 80 years old, we'll revisit this and it'll be correct. What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
By many people, give up. Men will never use a flushable wet wipe.
In one sentence, how do you sum up the internet?
A glorious but frustrating but amazing place.
Who's somebody you think should hop on this podcast?
I'm drawing a blank.
You could get back to me.
Sounds good.
And lastly, in 10 years from now, where can you catch Ryan Meegan?
Hopefully chilling, man. Hopefully chilling on an island somewhere, hopefully.
You think you can actually chill on an island? I always think about that.
No, it's kind of like a cliche thing to say. They're like, no way would I ever move from Chicago, but hopefully just
I always have to do.
enjoying family life and kind of chilling.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Well, Ryan, thanks for hopping on. That was one of my favorite ones.